They sealed his name beneath the sea, bound by blood, chained by generations. But mercy found him.
Chijioke, do not fear. You have found mercy in the sight of the Lord.
And what happened next shook the spirit realm. The scream tore through the air like a gunshot. Chimamanda! He didn't look left, he didn't look right. He just ran. A block of silver metal screeched. Tires screamed against asphalt. Horns bled, the world froze. Then came the sickening sound, the thud of flesh meeting steel. Blood spread across the hot tarmac like someone had thrown red paint from a bucket. A pink backpack rolled into the gutter, one strapped on, one zip open. It was hers. Her brother Chijioke dropped to his knees. His breath collapsed inside him. Hands trembling, he reached out, but the crowd had started gathering. Someone held him back. Someone else whispered,
"It's too late."
The body lay crumpled, limbs bent the wrong way. Her white socks were still clean. He couldn't cry. He just sat there, chest rising and falling like a drum beating too fast. Eyes wide, mouth open, heart breaking silently. That night, rain poured over the casket as they buried Chimamanda. It was a small family gathering, quiet, rushed, and heavy. The grave swallowed her like it had been waiting for her all along. Chijioke stood there, soaked to the bone. He couldn't move. He stared at the black crowd perched on the cemetery gates. He didn't flinch under the rain. He just stared back, still cold and watching. 3 days later, Chijioke was in her room alone. Her scent still lingered, papaya hair cream and something faintly sweet like chewing gum. He sat on her bed, now neatly made by their mother. His hand brushed something under her pillow, an envelope. With his name on it, he opened it slowly, eyes narrowing as he read the first words.
"If you are reading this, I am probably going."
He blinked. His hand started to sweat.
"I know I was next. I dreamt it 3 times. The black crow, the fire, and the sound of nails being hammered underwater. The same dream Mama said she had before Uncle Kene died. I don't know what it means, but I think our names are nailed somewhere. I don't know where, but it's dark, it's wet, and it's not of this world. If anything happens to me, find the woman I met at the market, the one who said your bloodline is marked, child. Tell your brother he must break it before it breaks him. She gave me something for you. I don't know how she knew your name, but she said you didn't know when the time comes."
He dropped the letter. A knock. 3 soft knocks on the front door. He checked the time, 10:38 p.m. He walked to the living room slowly. Mama was already asleep. His father hadn't spoken to anyone since the burial. He opened the door just a crack. An elderly woman stood there, face partly shadowed by a black scarf. Her eyes were sharp, not unfriendly, just intense. She said nothing. She reached into her wrapper and pulled out a small object wrapped in white clothes. She unwrapped it slowly and held it out. Chijioke's mouth dropped. It was Chimamanda's bracelet, a faded pink bangle with a butterfly charm. He had seen it on her wrist that very morning before she died.
How do you have this?"
he asked. The woman's voice was low and gravely.
"She gave it to me. You didn't need it when they come."
Chijioke took a step back. His spine went cold.
"Who are you?"
The woman didn't answer. Instead, she looked past him, straight into the hallway. Then she whispered,
"They have already started watching you, Chijioke. You don't have much time."
Chijioke slammed the door shut and locked it, heart pounding. He turned the bolt, then the key, then pushed a chair under the handle. He wasn't sure why. It was just instinct. Something about the woman felt wrong. Or maybe it was the way she stared past him, like she saw something he couldn't. The bracelet still sat in his hand, cold, too cold. It had no right being that cold. He wrapped it in a cloth and tossed it into the drawer beside the shoe rack. Silence, but the kind of silence that felt like something was breathing right inside you. He turned slowly toward the hallway. The corridor stretched long and narrow, dimly lit. Something about it felt different, like the walls were pressing in closer than usual. And halfway down the hall, he noticed something strange. A wet footprint, then another, then another, heading toward his room. He didn't move for several seconds, just stood, listening. Drip, drip. Somewhere water was falling, but there was no pipe leak, no open tap. He walked forward, slowly, his socked feet making no sound on the tiles. The light flickered once, then again. He reached his bedroom door and pushed it open. Nothing. Then he turned to the mirror beside his wardrobe and froze. There was a dark figure standing behind him in the reflection. He spun around. Nothing. The room was empty. He turned back to the mirror, still empty. But on the mirror's glass, a faint foggy message had appeared, as if someone breathed on the mirror from inside. It reads, 7 names, 6 remain. He stumbled backward. The bracelet. He ran to the drawer near the door and snatched it open. Empty. The bracelet was gone. He searched the floor, the table, the shelf, nothing. Then he heard it. A faint jingly sound, like something small was being dragged on the tiles. He followed the sound into Chimamanda's room, and there it was, the bracelet lying at the center of her bed, unmoved and untouched. He reached out slowly. The bulb above flickered violently, and the air in the room dropped. It felt like walking into a deep freezer. Then, something shifted in the corner of the room. A shadow peered from the wall, and a cold voice whispered in Igbo, "Ọ bụ aha gị ka anyị na-eche." It is your name we wait for. Chijioke didn't wait. He snatched the bracelet and bolted. Pop, pop, until the whole corridor was dark. He dove into his mother's room and slammed the door shut. She sat up, startled. Chi? What's wrong? He couldn't speak. He couldn't explain. He just clutched the bracelet to his chest as the voice whispered again, this time right outside the door. The sea remembers Chijioke. Then silence. Then knock. Once, twice, 7 times. Chijioke didn't sleep that night. He sat on the edge of his mother's bed, wide-eyed, clutching the bracelet like it was his last anchor to sanity. His mother fell asleep hours ago, but he couldn't close his eyes. Not after hearing that voice, not after seeing that message in the mirror. 7 names, 6 remain. That meant Chimamanda was the first, he was the next. But who were the others? By morning, he made up his mind. He needed answers, and not the kind you find in books. He walked to the local church on the next street, St. Basil's, but he didn't ask for the pastor. He asked for the woman who cleaned the sanctuary. Her name was Mama Kamsi, a silent widow who barely spoke to anyone, but was rumored to have the eye that sees. She looked up from scrubbing the altar steps when he approached.
Something works with you,
She said, without greeting.
It has worked with your bloodline for over 100 years.
Chijioke froze.
How? How do you know?
She stood, wiping her hands with a torn white wrapper.
I was born with the veil over my face. I see things people aren't meant to see. That bracelet in your pocket is a marker.
He pulled it out.
Your sister gave it to the woman at the market, didn't she?
Mama Kamsi asked, eyes narrowing. Chijioke nodded.
She came to my house, gave it to me.
She was never supposed to.
Mama Kamsi turned her face slightly, as if listening to someone in the air.
She broke the order of protection, and now they will hunt faster.
Chijioke swallowed hard.
Who are they?
Mama Kamsi looked at him solemnly.
They are the keepers of the stone.
Back at home, Chijioke began digging. He found an old chest in the storage room, his grandfather's belongings. Among them, yellowed notebooks, rusted chains, an ancient Bible, and a stack of letters written in thick, shaky Igbo. He flipped through until he found something chilling.
I saw it again last night. The stone was under the sea. Massive. Names hammered into it. Blood leaking from the cracks. My own name glowing at the bottom. I tried to scream, but I was underwater. They said you were born into the covenant. You would die with it.
It was signed.
Your grandfather Ndukwa Chukwuma, dated 1968.
And beneath the notes, scrawled faintly in red ink.
If anyone finds this, burn the stone or the blood will keep spilling.
Later that night, the attacks returned. It started with the fan spinning in reverse. Then a glass cup exploded by itself. Then his father, who hadn't spoken since Chimamanda died, suddenly stood from the sitting room, walked outside barefoot, and began screaming at the top of his lungs.
Stop calling my name! Stop dragging my name!
Chijioke ran out and held him, but the man kept screaming, scratching at his chest. Then silence. His father collapsed, eyes wide, mouth opened. He was alive, but he had gone completely mute. At midnight, Chijioke lit a candle in Chimamanda's room and read her letter again. He felt something pull at his chest, a heaviness, like grief mixed with warning. Then the candle flickered violently, and a drop of water fell on his shoulder. He looked up, no leak. Then another drop, this time on the paper, and the room went cold. Suddenly, he wasn't sitting on the bed anymore. He was underwater, eyes wide, mouth shut, but breathing somehow. He stood before an enormous black stone, the size of a house, sunk at the bottom of a pitch-black sea. Dozens of names glowed on it in red. The hammering sound echoed around him. Clink, clink, clink. He stepped closer and saw it, Chijioke Chukwuma, nailed halfway into the stone, just above another name, Obianuju Chukwuma, his mother. He screamed under the water, but no one heard. From the darkness behind the stone, a massive shadow began to rise, tall, bone-thin, with glowing blue eyes and seaweed for hair. It dragged a sack full of bones and smiled at him with teeth like shattered glass. Then it whispered with a voice like drowning,
1-0, 1 soul. Shall we begin?
The underwater world vanished in a blink. Chijioke jolted awake on the floor of Chimamanda's room, gasping like someone who had just broken through the surface of drowning. His shirt was soaked, not with sweat, with seawater. He looked around. The candle had melted completely. The floor beneath him was wet. His Bible lay open near the bed, pages fluttering as if something had just flipped through them. Then he saw it, a nail, long, rusted and dripping seawater. It sat beside his name, written in thick marker on a piece of torn cardboard. Someone or something had tried to nail his name physically while he was unconscious. He staggered to his feet, and that's when he noticed the muffled voices coming from the living room. His mother and 2 strangers. He stepped out quietly. His mother turned sharply.
Chijioke, come here. These people said they need to see you.
On the couch sat a man in a black suit and a woman with sharp eyes and a notebook in her lap.
Federal Intelligence Bureau.
The man said, flashing a badge.
We have been monitoring unusual disturbances linked to your family.
Chijioke's heart skipped.
Unusual? How?
The woman flipped her notebook.
Do the names Adobe Chukwuma, Kenneth Chukwuma, and Chimamanda Chukwuma mean anything to you?
Chijioke nodded slowly.
They are all dead.
The man leaned forward.
They all died under identical patterns. Sudden trauma, weeks of strange behavior, final nights always ends in either fire or water.
Your name is next, the woman said calmly.
We don't normally interfere with spiritual affairs, but this curse, it doesn't just kill, it spreads. And now it's reaching people outside your bloodline.
They handed him a brown envelope. Inside, blurry photos of a burning church, a flooded street, and a child holding a stone with nails sticking out.
Do you recognize this child?
The woman asked. Chijioke's blood turned to ice. The child in the photo was him. 7 years ago, holding a strange black stone in their backyard. Nails jutting from it. He had no memory of that day. None. The man said,
Whatever this thing is, you made contact with it a long time ago.
Later that evening, Chijioke snuck into his father's study. Since his breakdown, the man had become mute, but he often sat there, scribbling in his old ledger. Chijioke flipped through the pages, page after page of madness. Drawings of the stone, sketches of bodies nailed into the seabed, names, some scratched out, others written in blood-red ink. But on the final page, a family tree, and 6 names were marked with an X. One name was Obianuju Chukwuma, his mother, and below hers, someone had recently scribbled in thick black ink, nail her or lose her. Chijioke locked himself in his room that night. He didn't even touch his food. He couldn't sleep, couldn't blink too long. Around 2:11 a.m., his phone vibrated. Unknown number. One new voicemail. He played it, white noise. Then, the soft voice of his dead sister.
Chi, they are going for Mama. You have one night. Look under the bed. Hurry.
The call ended. He stared at the phone, hands shaking. He ran straight to his mother's room. She was fast asleep, breathing calmly. He dropped to the floor, heart pounding, and reached under the bed. A box, wooden and locked. He pulled it out and broke it open with a hammer. Inside, an old wedding photo, a rosary, a rusted key, and a piece of clothes, wrapped around something cold and heavy. He opened it slowly. It was a nail, fresh, wet, marked with his mother's name. Suddenly, his mother sat up violently in bed, eyes rolled back, lips twitching. She whispered in a voice that wasn't hers, "You shouldn't have touched it, Chijioke." And then she levitated, just 3 inches above the mattress, hair floating like she was underwater. Then the lights blew out. Chijioke didn't move. His mother hovered just above the bed, eyes turned white, her fingers twitching like puppets. Her breathing was racked, and her lips moved fast, but no sound came out. Then her head tilted slowly toward him, and her voice returned, deeper, like many voices speaking through her at once. "The bloodline is sealed. The mother will fall next. Burn the nail, and you burn the protection." Lightning flashed through the window. A loud crack of thunder followed. Suddenly, she dropped back to the bed with a heavy thud, her body limp, like all the life had drained out of her. Chijioke crawled backward, gasping. His hands trembled. The nail was still in his grip, cold, sharp, freshly wet like it had just been pulled out of the sea. He ran to the bedroom and locked himself in. And for the next 10 minutes, he just sat there sobbing. By dawn, his mother had no memory of the incident. She complained of a migraine and chest pain, but insisted she was fine. Chijioke knew better. He walked through the house, noticing the air had changed. He felt washed, constantly, like the walls had grown ears. He remembered what Mama Kamsi had told him.
You were marked long before your sister died. This curse doesn't begin when someone dies. It begins when someone sees.
That afternoon, Chijioke returned to her. She was waiting.
You said there were 7 names,
He said.
Who are the others?
Mama Kamsi nodded.
Your mother, your uncle Kenny, your twin cousins who drowned in 2015. That's 5.
Chimamanda,
Chijioke added.
6.
Mama Kamsi looked at him slowly.
You are the 7th.
but
He started. She raised her hand.
You were born during the red moon of March 2003. That was the final C. You are not just a target, you are the key.
She handed him a bundle of dried herbs, a leather pouch, and a bottle of red oil.
Tonight,
She said,
you will go to the family compound, the house in Umunede. That's where the altar was first built.
Chijioke's heart dropped.
that house is abandoned. They say no one can sleep there.
That's because it was never just a house.
She replied.
It was a spiritual forge where the first name was nailed. Your great-grandfather, Dike Chukwuma, made the covenant to protect his land from colonial seizure. He didn't realize the covenant came with a price.
What price?
Mama Kamsi looked him in the eyes.
The firstborn of every generation. And if the curse is not fed, it spreads to those closest to the blood.
That night, Chijioke made the trip. He didn't tell his mother. He boarded an old Toyota Hiace with cracked seats and no AC. The bus dropped him off at the edge of Umunede by 7:32 p.m. The sun had just set and the village air was thick and humid. The Chukwuma compound sat behind an overgrown thicket. The gate hung open like a crooked jaw. He stepped in slowly. The walls were black with moss, the windows broken. The roof looked like it had partially collapsed. The only thing untouched was the small prayer altar in the backyard, ironically clean, like someone had still been tending to it. He approached it slowly and saw it, a slab of black stone, not the massive one from the dream, but a smaller replica embedded into the ground. There were names etched to it, faint but glowing faintly red under the moonlight. He bent down to look closer. Suddenly, a hand grabbed his ankle. He screamed and kicked backward. A figure pulled itself out from the earth. A man, rotting, pale, wearing a British army clothes, no eyes, mouth full of nails.
Don't touch the stone.
It growled. Chijioke backed away, heart racing. Another voice rose from behind the altar.
Let him touch it,
it said, calm, female and familiar. He turned around and froze. Chimamanda was standing there, wearing the same clothes she died in, same white socks, same butterfly bracelets, smiling.
It's not over, Chi. It's just starting.
Chimamanda stood under the moonlight, smiling faintly. Her socks were still stained from the blood that had spilled onto the road that day. Her pink bracelet dangled from her wrists, catching the lights. Her hair tilted slowly, just like it did when she was thinking as a child. He wanted to believe it was her. He really did.
Chi,
she said, in her soft, innocent voice.
Don't be scared. I'm still your sister.
But something was wrong with her eyes, too wide, too glassy, like someone was blinking from the inside.
You died,
he whispered, stepping back.
I didn't die,
she replied.
They just took the paths they needed.
Chijioke backed into the altar stone behind him. He turned quickly to run, but another figure stepped into view. His late uncle Kene, tall, broad, with a twisted neck and empty stare. And behind him, two smaller shadows, his twin cousins, the ones who drowned. Their mouths hung open like they were still screaming. Chijioke's throat went dry.
Why are you here?
He asked. They are not here. A voice growled from within the altar stone. They are bound to it, just like you will be. The altar beneath his feet trembled. Cracks formed. A red light began to seep through. Chijioke turned and ran, but something unseen grabbed his shadow. Not his leg, not his clothes, his shadow. He fell, his flesh slamming into the earth. A growling voice echoed across the compound. Once the seventh is nailed, the stone rises to feed. Suddenly, lights, bright, blinding, and golden. Chijioke shielded his eyes. A white cloth fluttered down and wrapped itself around his shoulder, pulling him upward like a rope from heaven. When his vision cleared, he saw her, Mama Kamsi, but younger, or maybe not her at all. She was barefoot, glowing, eyes shining like stars behind thick cataracts. She spoke in a different voice, calm, strong, almost ancient.
The blood speaks, but the fire still remembers the old altar. If you want to break this curse, you must return the name to the fire that bettered it.
The lights flared again, and the evening vanished. Chijioke woke up coughing in an abandoned yam barn just outside the compound. It was 3:02 a.m. No blood, no stone, no Chimamanda. Just the bracelet in his hand, wet and covered in ash. He stumbled out into the road. As he did, he heard a faint voice from behind.
Chi!
He turned. Nothing. Just the wind blowing gently across the compound gates. He got back to the village square by 4 a.m., legs trembling, clothes damp with sweat and dirt. By daybreak, a woman selling akara stared at him.
You entered the Chukuma compound at night and came out walking,
she asked in Igbo.
You are either cursed or chosen.
He didn't answer. He bought 100 naira akara and sat beside a gutter, eating in silence as the sky turned grey. He didn't know what he was anymore. All he knew was this: the curse wasn't just spiritual, it was contractual. A blood deal signed by a desperate ancestor, and now the debt was overdue. At home, his mother was awake, kneeling beside the window. Her Bible was open, but she wasn't reading. She was shaking. When she saw him, she stood and asked one thing.
Where were you last night?
Chijioke hesitated, then replied,
I saw her again.
His mother's face broke.
She came to me too,
she said.
In my dream. She said they are building something with your name.
Chijioke's chest tightened.
What kind of building?
His mother stared at him, then whispered,
A throne.